Hello everybody, in this video we're going to learn how to multiply binomials. It's a little different than multiplying a monomial to a polynomial because there's going to be more than one term in each parentheses here. The important thing to realize is that each term has to be multiplied to each term in the other parentheses. So this 3x is going to need to be multiplied to the 6x and to the 2. This negative 5 is going to have to be multiplied to the 6x and the 2. Okay, now the 3x and the 5 will not multiply together, and the 6x and the 2 will not multiply together, but each term has to multiply to each other term in parentheses. Or sorry, each term in the other parentheses. Okay, so one of the techniques we can use to make sure we don't leave anything out is the FOIL method. That stands for firsts plus outers plus inners plus lasts. Okay, so the firsts would be the first term in each parentheses. So the first would be 3x times 6x. The outers would be the 3x and the 2, the outsides. The inners would be the insides here, the negative 5 and the 6x. And then the lasts would be the last term in each parentheses, so the negative 5 and the 2. So that way we were able to multiply the 3x to both of those, that's the firsts and the outers, and then the negative 5 is going to be multiplied to the 6x and the 2, those are the inners and the lasts. Okay, so FOIL is a good way to remember that you're getting everything. Now we're going to go ahead and simplify each of these. So 3x times 6x, well 3 times 6 is 18, x times x is x squared, 3 times 2 is 6 times x. Here we have, I wrote that plus 2 soon here, so I'm going to get rid of that. We have a negative 5 times 6 will be a negative 30, and then times the x. And then we have this negative 5 times 2, which will be negative 10. Okay, so keep in mind, always keep in mind the negative signs here. Now, once we finish with FOIL, sometimes, most of the time, we'll need to combine any like terms, and those like terms are almost always going to be the two in the middle here. The outers and the inners will combine because they have like terms. So we end up with 18x squared from here. The 6 minus 30 is going to be negative 24, or also known as minus 24x, right, because they both have x, and then minus 10. And so our final answer is going to look like this on the bottom here. Alright, now I'm going to show you a different method for the same problem. Notice it's the same problem, 3x minus 5, 6x plus 2. This is called the box method. This is nice to learn because it's going to help us later on in the chapter when we talk about factoring. So we're definitely going to want to learn the box method here. So I'm going to put the 3x minus 5 on top and the 6x plus 2 on the side. It doesn't matter which one goes where. I could have put the 6x plus 2 here and the 3x minus 5 here. And so now I'm just going to multiply the intersecting boxes. So the 6x has to multiply to the 3x and get 18x squared. 6x is going to multiply to the negative 5 and get negative 30x. The 3x and the 2 will be multiplied to give us a 6x, and then the negative 5 and the 2 will give us a negative 10. Notice if I go backwards, you can see, or if you look back in your notes, these terms are all the same as these terms here. We have the 18x squared, the 6x, the negative 30x, the negative 10. And in this case, the two terms that are going to be combinable, because they're like terms, are going to be these two here on the diagonal. And so we can write our answer as same thing, 18x squared. We have this negative 30 and this positive 6 is negative 24x, or minus 24x, and then minus 10. And so you can see it's the same answer, different method. Alright, let's try it out here. I'm going to use the box technique. You can use FOIL as well, but make sure you know how to do both techniques. Again, the reason I'm using box is because we're going to use it in factoring, so it's nice to get used to it. I'd rather have that been black. Let's see if I can quickly fix that. Yeah, okay. Great, so we have 4m and then minus 3, 6m minus 2. Alright, so the 4 and the 6, that's 24, and then m times m, and then 6m times negative 3 is negative 18m, and then 4m times negative 2, and then negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Again, we're going to need to combine these like terms here, and so we're going to end up with 24m squared, and then this negative 18 minus 8 is going to be negative 26, also known as minus 26m, and then we have a positive 6 on the end. Alright, next one. Let's do another box technique here. This one's a little different because we have a squared term in there. Let's see if that changes anything. Alright, so I have c squared minus 4. I have 2c plus 3. So 2c times c squared is 2, and then c to the third. 2c times negative 4 is negative 8c. C squared times 3, and 3 times negative 4. Okay, one thing you'll notice here is that the middle terms are not combinable, or sorry, these diagonal terms are not combinable because they're not both squared. Okay, so in this case we don't combine them. So we have a 2c cubed, we have a 3c squared, so plus 3c squared, we have a negative 8c, and we have a negative 12. And that's our answer. We're done. And finally, here we have a trinomial multiplied with a binomial. The box method, we could use it. It might get a little confusing because we'd have to have 6 squares in the box, because if each of these multiplies to each of these, you should see that we'll have 6 outcomes, right? This times this times this, that's 2. Here's 2 more, and then here would be 2 more. So we can kind of use a method similar to FOIL. I'm just going to make sure I multiplied everything. So I'm going to say k squared times k. I'm just going to be real organized. Plus k squared times negative 2. Plus, now I'm moving on to this one. So negative 4k times k plus negative 4k times negative 2 plus, I'm going to run out of room. Let me shrink this down a little bit. There we go. Alright, plus, so I've finished with the negative 4k's. Now I'm moving on to the 3. So 3 times k plus 3 times negative 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. Now I'm going to simplify them. This is k to the third. This will be a negative 2k squared. This one will be a negative 4k squared. This one will be a positive 8k. This one's going to be a positive 3k. And this one's going to be a negative 6. Okay, now I'm going to look for any like terms that I can combine. Looks like these will be combinable, and these will be combinable. So we have k cubed, we have negative 2, negative 4, so negative 6k squared, and we have 8 and 3, that's 11k and minus 6. And that's it. Thanks for watching the video.